1968, what a year for Razorback football. A young Arkansas team picked no higher than fourth in the league in preseason polls turns to an exciting passing attack and winds up co-champions of the Southwest Conference and Sugar Bowl winners over Georgia. It was a season of on-the-job, but when it was all over, Arkansas could look back on a 10-1 nation. Early wins over Oklahoma State and Tulsa gave the young Razorbacks the confidence they needed and set the stage for their conference opener with TCU. The Fort Worth game was again a pivotal one, and for the 10th straight year, Arkansas emerged the winner. The Razorbacks waste little time getting started. On the first play from scrimmage, David Dickey takes the handoff, follows the blocking of Bruce Maxwell, and sails 31 yards down the near sideline to the TCU 30. A penalty shoves the Porkers back, so Bill Montgomery goes to the air with a 26-yard pass to Max Peacock, surrounded by Frogs at the TCU 11. There TCU holds. The Frogs apply pressure, but Bob White's 29-yard boot makes it 3-0. Early in the second period, TCU takes to the air. Lindsey Cole breaks into the clear to haul in a 49-yard pass from Ted Fay at the Arkansas 17. In spite of a Razorback defense, Fay fires quickly to Bill Ferguson for 10 yards and a first down at the 5. And from the I formation, big Ross Montgomery follows Norm Boulage into the end zone, and TCU leads 7-3. Arkansas threatens twice in the third period, but still trails. Then TCU is called for interference on a Montgomery pass to Chuck Dicus, and the Porkers have a first down at the TCU 32. Arkansas moves quickly. Montgomery darts inside a hole, cuts back, and goes 13 yards before Webb grabs him by the jersey. In 2 plays, Bill Burnett gallops through a hole at left guard and gets another first down at the TCU 8. And it's Burnett again who jumps inside tackle behind Barnes and Stankovic for the go-ahead touchdown. TCU wound up with only 4 yards rushing in the second half. Gordon McNulty and Mike Jacobs chased Ted Fay for a loss of 8 yards when he finds his receivers covered. Again, the Frogs try to move overhead. Carter's pass is tipped. And Gary Adams comes up running with his first interception of the year. Here's power in motion on the sweep. Maxwell annihilates a defender, and Burnett turns on the speed for a 10-yard pickup. And Maxwell finishes the drive by leaping in for the score. The Hogs head home with a 17-7 victory. The Baylor Bears were still looking for their first win of the year when they came to Fayetteville on Dad's Day. Arkansas jumped to an early lead, then had to fight off the Bears to take their 4th victory in a row. An interception gave Arkansas good field position early in the game. Montgomery whips a pass to Dicus. He fakes one man and goes 12 yards for the first down. 3 running plays gain 12 yards, and again Montgomery tests the Baylor secondary. This time Dicus pulls away from the tackler and scampers 21 yards to the Baylor 16. And watch this blocking as Burnett hurdles his way for the first touchdown of the day. The defense came up with a fumble recovery, and the Hogs go back to work. Montgomery scrambles free and shoots a 14-yard pass to Dicus. Another quick one to Mike Sigmund, and it's a first down at the Baylor 7. Then Montgomery turns runner. A block by Maxwell, and he cuts back in to go for the score. Arkansas leads 14-0. Now get set for a Razorback special. Ed Marsh punts deep to Gary Adams at the 21. One block, and he heads for the wall. He sails by the first Baylor lineman, picks up Bruce James as the blocker. There's a miss by Baylor's John Kelly. Another block by Terry Stewart, and the all-conference senior goes 79 yards for the score. And there goes a Razorback football. The Bears aren't out of it yet. Steve Stewart opens a passing attack with a 26-yard toss to Mark Lewis. Dixon makes the tackle. Baylor moves to the Razorback 33. There, in spite of pressure by Cliff Powell, Stewart gets off a long one. Don Huggins pulls it in on a 24-yard play with Tommy Dixon again on his back. From there, Pinky Palmer pounds across for the touchdown, and it's 21-7 at halftime. Baylor scores again in the third period and is driving in the fourth. Stewart fakes, then tosses 14 yards to Jerry Smith. The Baylor passing game is now in high gear. Stewart finds Huggins opens at the sideline for 8 yards to the Arkansas 24. Then Stewart lowers his shoulder on a sneak, but it's going to be close. There's the signal, and Arkansas's lead is cut to 2 points. That's when the Hogs go back to work. Montgomery fires a 9-yard pass to Burnett for a first down at the Arkansas 35. 3 plays later, another 11-yard strike is caught by Max Peacock on a diving effort at midfield. A fake to Burnett, and Montgomery finds Maxwell wide open in the flat. Ronnie Hammers throws a great block, and Maxwell goes 18 yards down the sideline. With perfect protection, Montgomery locates Dicus on the near sideline for a 16-yard pass to the Baylor 7. And Baylor's 11-man line is completely fooled by Montgomery on this rollout. Arkansas takes a 28-19 lead. The Corkers come up with a fumble recovery, and Arkansas seals the win. David Cox grabs a 10-yard pass at the sideline. Back to ground power. A block by Maxwell, and Burnett tears away from a Baylor tackler to go 11 yards to the Bear 23. A fake to Cody, and Montgomery hits Dicus at the chalk mark for a first down at the 9. And Montgomery sets a school record with his 22nd completion of the day on an end zone cut by Chuck Dicus. Now to Austin for what has become the big battle of the year in the Southwest. It was a day when Texas put everything together at the right time, and Arkansas's only loss of the year. It's all tied at 3-3 in the first period when Montgomery drills an 18-yard pass between two Longhorns to Mike Sigmund at the Texas 38. And on the last play of the period, after a fake to Burnett, Bruce Maxwell takes a pitch out and shows leg power as he bowls over 4 Longhorns on a 14-yard run to the 24. Now let's play linebacker on the option. Montgomery slides by an end and picks up 16 yards before he's brought down at the 8. Behind Barnes, Dawsey, and Sigmund, Burnett gallops up the middle, pulls away from tacklers, and leaps into the end zone for a 9-3 lead. Let's take a ground-level shot of that same play to watch the great second effort by Burnett. Texas comes roaring back. Steve Wooster follows his blockers perfectly, pounding 26 yards across midfield and down to the Arkansas 29. And Chris Gilbert shows why he earned All-America honors in a slashing 5-yard run up the middle, and Texas leads 10-9. The Porkers come right back. Montgomery's rush, but finds Max Peacock for 16 yards. He runs into a three-way stop sign. Another pass moves the ball to the Texas 22. Then Montgomery lofts a short one to Maxwell, and he runs into Longhorn tacklers after a 10-yard gallop. The Razorbacks regain the lead. A soft pass by Montgomery is just over the hands of Denny Aldridge, and Dykes has it for the score. It's 15-10 Arkansas. The Longhorns come back unexpectedly with a bomb. James Street cranks up his arm, throws long, and in a photo finish, Charlie Spire has it for the touchdown. With a minute left in the half, Texas leads 25-15. Texas scores again in the third, then puts the game out of reach. Gilbert scoops in a pitch out, turns on the speed, and zips 36 yards down the sideline for the touchdown. But the Hogs come back strong, starting with this play. A pitch out to Billy Dale is wide. Lynn Garner and Bobby Field race for the fumble, and Arkansas takes over at the Texas 27. In 2 plays, Montgomery gets a first down with a pass to Mike Sigmund, who fights off a defender at the Texas 17. And staying on the ground, Montgomery runs the option right and gallops in for the score. A 2-point play failed. But another defensive play stops the Longhorns. Guy Parker hits Street by the shoelaces, and Texas has to punt. Montgomery fakes the end, pitches to Burnett, and lets go down on the field. Watch this 42-yard change of pace with the Longhorns in full pursuit. Montgomery then goes back to the air, and Peacock collects a 21-yard pass at the Texas 20-yard line. Burnett takes the delayed pitch out, gets a block by Hockersmith, and slams over against Texas regulars to cap a 14-point fourth quarter. The defending champion Texas Aggies were all but out of the race by the time the Razorbacks arrived in College Station. Still, there was Ed Hargett, and it took another Arkansas comeback to stay alive in the conference race. The Razorbacks are on the move early in the game. Montgomery hits David Cox with a low fastball for a first down at the Aggie 49. 2 plays gain 8 yards. Then Montgomery sprints out behind Jerry Dawsey, finds Hockersmith wide open, and the Porker fullback goes to the Cadet 26. And here's a linebacker's nightmare. A fake and a quick toss to Sigmund, the tight end, for 10 yards and another first down. There the Aggies brace. Burnett hammers away at the Aggie middle, then gets a touchdown call as he dives into the arms of linebacker Ivan Jones. A long A&M punt gets the Aggies field position, and Ed Hargett's swing pass sends Larry Steegen to the Arkansas 28. Then the Cadet quarterback goes for the long one. It's just over the hands of Arkansas defenders, and Bob Long has it for an Aggie touchdown and a 7-6 lead. On his way to a record year, Hargett rolls right and throws back to Steegen. Cliff Powell hauls him down at the Arkansas 29. The Aggies move to the 8. Barney Harris makes a diving catch between 2 Razorbacks, and A&M has a halftime lead. The second half was all Arkansas. Maxwell charges through a hole opened by the Razorback offensive line for 8 yards. Now at midfield, Montgomery gets good protection. Pulls the string, and Peacock has it for a first down at the Cadet 39. Cool under pressure, Montgomery's hit just as he passes. A 16-yard strike to Dykes, and the Porkers are at the Aggie 14. And watch this for accuracy. Montgomery covers a lot of ground, throws, and Dykes grabs it at the goal line for a touchdown. A&M still leads 14-12. The Aggies are forced to punt, and Montgomery keeps things going with an 18-yard toss to Dicus. Then Montgomery finds Hockersmith wide open. He races 15 yards right into the arms of an Aggie named Tom Suey. Now the Porkers cross midfield. Peacock hauls in a 20-yard pass to the cadet, 42. And the Razorbacks regain the lead. Montgomery throws off balance, and Sigmund has it for the score. Bob White's kick makes it 19-14. By the end of the quarter, Montgomery had another drive underway. Sigmund surprises 3 Aggies and goes 31 yards to the cadet, 26. And it all comes down to this. Burnett gets the call and slips through a hole for the clinching touchdown. It was November, and Arkansas was on its way to a 6th title in the past decade. Homecoming fans were treated to a real offensive show with 2 long touchdown passes figuring in a 46-point afternoon. A short Rice punt puts Arkansas in business early. Maxwell slants over right tackle, knocks over one Owl, and picks up 8 yards. Quickly, the Razorbacks go to the air. Montgomery throws deep to Max Peacock, and the award-winning senior goes 18 yards to the Owl 13. A pass gains 6, and Montgomery slips between Brand and Dawsey for the game's first touchdown. Now watch 2 Arkansas linebackers at work. Garner hits Robbie Shelton on the handoff. Cliff Powell jolts Tony Conley loose from the ball, and Terry Don Phillips recovers at the 42. It takes Montgomery 1 play to complete the cycle. He stays in the pocket, throws long, and Chuck Dicus is miles in front for a 58-yard touchdown pass that puts Arkansas ahead 14-0. It's the same story moments later. Shelton is chased by Gordon McNulty, who's literally all arms and legs, and Rice takes a loss. Hold on, Gordon. Just in case you missed it a minute ago, here's a carbon copy. Montgomery pulls the trigger, and that man Dicus sets a Razorback yardage record on the long end of a 67-yard scoring toss. Arkansas leads 21-0. The Owls get on the scoreboard, but Arkansas comes back. Dawsey and Stankovic block, and Montgomery fires 16 yards to Dicus. 4 plays deeper, and Montgomery drills a 22-yard bullet to Peacock in the middle of the Rice secondary. That's when the Porkers call on David Dickey in a halfback pass. His 3rd touchdown pass of the year finds Peacock going down. And is he happy? Arkansas's defensive line holds a reunion in the Rice backfield. Finally, Mike Boschetti nails Shelton with a 15-yard loss, and the Owls are forced to punt. Maxwell takes a delayed pitch out and batters over the first 2 linemen he meets in a 9-yard charge to the Owl 14. And with Rodney Brand leading the way, Montgomery looks, turns on the speed, and races to the Rice 1. Hockersmith then took it over for the score. The Owls show new life in the 3rd quarter. Shelton hits Jack Faubian with a sideline pass for 10 yards to the Arkansas 47. Now watch one of the league's most dangerous runners. Robbie Shelton scrambles free, keeps his balance, and goes 17 yards for a first down at the 15. And the Owls score on a halfback pass. Gary Thomas to Larry Davis. It's 33-14 at the end of the 3rd period. The Porkers come back with Montgomery. Sigmund's deep, but Dicus is wide open for a 17-yard pass to the Owl 13-yard line. And Dickey follows Richard Coleman in for the touchdown, one of 28 of his Razorback career. It's 40-14 when Russell Cody pulls off one of the year's best plays. He slips between two owls, fakes his way by another, staggers for just a moment, and is finally hauled down from behind at the end of a 69-yard marathon to the Rice 12. John Eichler then fakes to Cody and cuts inside tackle on a sparkling touchdown run that sends 43,000 homecoming fans away happy. Talk about comebacks. Here was a classic on regional television. The Porkers exploded with 5 touchdowns, then had to fight off a frenzied Mustang rally to earn the victory at Little Rock. SMU gave up the ball early on a fumble, and Dykes pulls in a Montgomery pass, going 10 yards with a Mustang on his back. Burnett gets 3 yards, then cuts through a hole at left tackle for the score. In the second period, Cliff Powell charges in to nail Chuck Hickson with a 10-yard loss, forcing an SMU punt. And here's Bill Burnett with the same great moves that earned all conference honors for his brother just 3 years ago. In 6 short plays, Montgomery hits Dykes, and he carries a Mustang into the end zone for a 14-0 halftime lead. The Porkers stagger SMU in the third. Maxwell comes through on the counter play, stiffs arms the pony, and gallops for 13 more yards. Then Maxwell turns receiver and takes a Montgomery pass for 8 yards to the Mustang 41. Now watch this reaction. Montgomery jumps and keeps the football for a 7-yard pickup to the SMU 17. Here's that twosome again. Maxwell wipes out the defense, and Burnett sprints around M for 7 yards to the 3. He scored on the next play. It was a game of fumbles. Garner hits Hickson from the side. Powell joins with a recovery, and the defense takes over at the SMU 5. Think that's not a happy bunch? It takes Arkansas just 1 play to score. Maxwell grabs Montgomery's pass, and it's 28-0 Arkansas. Here's more defense. Kersey slams into Richardson. He tries to pitch out, and 5 Razorbacks go after the football. After an 18-yard loss, McNulty has it on the SMU 21. Maxwell makes short work of the job, knocking over everyone but the official in a 16-yard gallop. And here they come. Maxwell first, and Burnett pounding his way around in for the score, and a 35-0 lead. Razorback fumbles set up a fantastic finish. Here Jerry Levias hauls in a Hickson pass for 17 yards. The Porkers finally held on, but not before Hickson had chalked up 4 touchdowns, like this 18-yard strike to Frank Stringer. Maybe it was the SMU rally or the Tech upsets of the past 2 years. Whatever the reason, Arkansas journeyed to Lubbock poised in prime. The win gave Arkansas the first seat on the conference throne. A strong wind hurt Tech early when Joe Matulik's pass was picked off by Tommy Dixon, and he scores his first Razorback touchdown on a 28-yard return. In one of the key plays of the game, Terry Stockdale's punt carries 54 yards and rolls out of bounds at the Tech 2. Tech punts short, and Arkansas goes back to work, with Burnett following Dawsey and All-America Jim Barnes on an 8-yard run. And we go down to the field again to watch Burnett in action as he leaps over the goal line for a 14-0 first quarter lead. Tech comes back in the second period. Tom Sawyer sails a 27-yard pass to David May down to the Razorback 23. And powerful Jackie Stewart drives over left tackle to close the margin at halftime. It's 14-7. This play broke the game wide open. Montgomery sees some daylight, steps by one tackler, gets a block, then another one, and goes 31 yards to the Texas Tech 36. Three plays deeper, Burnett shreds Tech defenders with a 10-yard gallop up the middle. And our ground camera catches Burnett diving in for the score. It was a happy trip for Razorback fans. Now Tech has the win. Sawyer passes long. Too long. And Stewart picks it off. A block by Dixon, and a happy Terry Stewart shows great running form in a 30-yard sideline return. The offensive line opens a big hole, and Burnett fights his way 14 yards to the Raider 9. A penalty sets Arkansas back, and Montgomery delivers a screen pass to Burnett. Dawsey opens a touchdown trail for 21 yards, and the Razorbacks lead 28-7. Montgomery now gives our field camera a close-up look at determination. He follows Bland in for the 5th touchdown of the afternoon. Great defensive play ruined the Raiders. Garner nails Sawyer for a 7-yard loss while trying to pass, and Tommy Dew gives him a hand. Then Sawyer gets a pass away. But Garner reaches out for the 7th Razorback interception of the day, an all-time Arkansas record. Back to the drawing board. David Dickey's in fine form as he rips up 13 yards of Tech territory to the Raider 33. Then Glenn Hockersmith barrels over the left side of the line for 16 yards and a first down at the 14. And from the end zone, we watched Gordon Norwood's perfect execution of the quarterback option for the touchdown. The co-champion Razorbacks are Sugar Bowl bound. The jury was still out on this proud Arkansas team when it met the 4th-ranked Georgia Bulldogs, but the Razorbacks answered the challenge with a defensive masterpiece. Late in the first period, Burnett follows the blocking of Barnes and Maxwell on a 4-yard gain. Then Montgomery hits Dicus. He steps by the first Bulldog and goes 12 yards to the 39. Another pass, and Dicus is wide open in the flat. He ducks under Jake Scott for 9 yards to the 27. On the first play of the second period, here it comes. A great pass and a fabulous catch by Dicus for the game's only touchdown. The Razorback defense was fired up. Mike Cavan is buried by Bumpus and James for a loss of 14. So the Hogs take over. Montgomery throws, and Dicus makes a diving catch, good for 35 yards. The same combination riddles Georgia. Dicus grabs a pass in front of 2 Bulldogs at the 23. The Bulldogs hold, so Bob White responds with a 34-yard field goal, and it's 10-2 at halftime. In the third period, Cavan sprints out, throws to Charlie Whittemore, and Adams drops him immediately at the 9. Now for a defensive gem. Johnson's hit, the ball explodes into the end zone, and it's a touchback for Arkansas. It's all defense in the second half. Cavan is chased by Kersey for a loss of 15. So Arkansas takes over. Montgomery finds Dicus wide open, and he tightropes 21 yards to the Bulldog 28. Again, it's Dicus, this time with Scott on his back, and the Razorbacks are at the Georgia 15. And Bob White ties the school record with his 3rd field goal of the day in a 16-2 upset of the Bulldogs. Such was the story of 1968, a peak year in a plateau of football success at Arkansas. It was a season of unforgettable thrills.
The epic season actually began in late July when ground was broken for the laying of a brilliant green artificial turf on the floor of tradition-rich Razorback Stadium. Dubbed Modside, the resilient AstroTurf cover was spread on the same base used for highways. First concrete, then asphalt, and finally a rubber pad 5/8 of an inch thick. With the fitting of the ultra-modern carpet, the stage was set for a series of spectacles. Arkansas opened against Oklahoma State in Little Rock 39-0, then defeated Tulsa on the first game on AstroTurf 55-0. The Razorbacks' raging defense gave an indication of things to come in the conference opener against TCU and Little Rock's War Memorial Stadium. Threatening at the Arkansas 4, TCU's Marty Whalen is shivered by Razorback defensive end Gordon McNulty, fumbles, and after a scramble, Bruce James comes up with a ball for the Razorbacks. Kerry Stockdale boots the Razorbacks out of a hole with this 70-yard beauty, which he kicked out of bounds on the TCU 3-yard line. Facing a 3-0 TCU advantage, the Razorbacks went for the home run, and quarterback Bill Montgomery found split receiver Chuck Dicus, who turned the strike into a 73-yard touchdown. Chuck's excited teammates mobbed the little receiver as the Razorbacks took the initiative in the ball game. Defensive back Terry Stewart misses the sure touchdown as he grabs the fumble in the air, then drops it. Linebacker Robert Lewis and Bruce James forced the bobble as the Razorback defense turned the tide. A 38-yard field goal by Bill McClard propels the Porkers into a 10-3 lead in the second period. And now on their first possession of the second half, the Razorbacks grind goalward with quarterback Bill Montgomery on the keeper, weaving his way for a 10-yard pickup. A look now at tailback Bill Burnett behind dependable Bruce Maxwell's clearing block as he sweeps 22 yards inside the Horned Frog 25. Watch the fake by Bill Montgomery. And now Bill looks down the middle and spots Chuck Dicus. Chuck spins to keep his feet after being rammed and heads into the end zone. The Razorbacks ground out their last touchdown, and Bill Burnett cuts behind a Maxwell block for 11 yards deep in TCU territory. It's the Maxwell-Burnett act again as Bill charges through a gaping hole to cap the Razorbacks' 24-6 victory. It was a damp, blustery night in Waco as Arkansas met Baylor in a defensive struggle. Bruce James goes after the quarterback. Linebacker Lynn Garner causes the runner to turn inside, and Cliff Powell applies the clincher. Now Arkansas on the attack. Montgomery the quarterback, and firing to Dicus for 21 yards to launch a Razorback drive late in the first quarter. Burnett cracks 10 yards, giving a hint of things to come. The barreling junior tailback is stopped a yard shy of the goal line as the Porkers fight to get on the scoreboard. And again, Burnett is called on and goes up and over into the end zone, and Arkansas leads 7-0. Terry Stewart almost goes all the way on this punt return, showing tremendous second effort. Terry absorbs a hard tackle, cuts to the sideline, and covers 64 yards before he is finally overtaken. Another look at the rampaging Bill Burnett, who muscles his way 16 yards to gain breathing room for the Porkers at their 20. Knowing a good thing when they see it, the Razorbacks send Burnett through the same hole, this time for 14 yards. With the game tied 7-7, the Razorbacks finally broke through on this brilliant pass and catch by the aerial act of Montgomery to Dicus, and the plays set the Porkers up on the Baylor 2-yard line. Burnett wastes no time cashing the opportunity, crashing over left tackle and using one leg to spring backward into the end zone. And the bristling Porker defense sealed the verdict with plays like this. The pass receiver is swarmed. And defensive halfback Jerry Moore knifes in with a key fumble recovery to frustrate the Bears. The Razorbacks on the march again, and Burnett fighting for 5 yards to set up the final touchdown. Burnett stops short temporarily, won't give up, and lunges across the goal line to round out a 21-7 Arkansas victory. Trailing 7-0 before they ever laid their hands on the ball, the Razorbacks battle back against Texas A&M at Fayetteville as Bill Montgomery tosses to fullback Bruce Maxwell for 15 yards. Montgomery drops back, looks and drills flanker John Reese coming across the middle for a 25-yard gain and a first down. Tailback Bill Burnett on the handoff keeps the drive going by sliding 6 yards to the Aggie 4. And watch Burnett as he barges into 3 Aggies at right tackle to tie the game at 7-7. The Razorbacks scored 5 of the first 6 times they had the ball against an always tough Aggie defense. And they wasted no time getting moving again as Montgomery hits tight end Pat Morrison with an 11-yard jump pass. Porker fullback Bruce Maxwell takes the handoff and rambles for 9 yards. Burnett follows the lead of Maxwell with a quick strike for 9 yards. And again, it's the big play duo, Montgomery and Dicus, teaming for a 23-yard gainer to the Aggie 16-yard line. 3 plays later, Montgomery finds the elusive Dicus wide open for a 10-yard touchdown pass, and the Razorbacks were off and winging against Texas A&M. The hard-charging Porker defense collars the Aggie quarterback as he tries to pass, forcing a fumble recovered by defensive end Bruce James. And it didn't take long for the Razorbacks to cover 37 yards as Maxwell springs for 18, scattering a TV camera crew as he's knocked out of bounds. Burnett just reaches the goal line as he hits and spins for the final 3 yards and a 21-7 Arkansas lead. Bruce James gets his second fumble recovery of the game as Mike Boschetti, Cliff Powell, and Rick Kersey smother an Aggie, and the ball is knocked loose at the Texas A&M 6. And Montgomery crosses up the Aggie defense and rifles a 5-yard scoring pass to tight end Pat Morrison, who has worked his way into the open. Montgomery's passing takes its toll as the cool junior hits fullback Maxwell for 8 yards. Discovering a soft spot in the middle, Montgomery lobs a pass to Morrison for 7 yards. Montgomery rolls out and leads John Reese perfectly for an 11-yard gain. Mixing his plays well, Montgomery looks for Bruce Maxwell, and Bruce gains 18 yards to the Aggie 1. Maxwell got it close, and the powerful Maxwell slants outside right tackle for the touchdown. The Razorback defense doused a late Aggie threat with his circus interception as Dick Bumpus puts the pressure on the passer. Ronnie Jones clotheslines the intended receiver, and alert linebacker Mike Boschetti picks off the errant aerial as the 35-13 Arkansas victory goes into the books. A bruising Razorback ground game overcame 90-degree heat and heavy smog against Rice at Houston. First, Bill Burnett finds running room against the Owls. Then Bruce Maxwell finds a big hole and makes a nifty cut to get 9 yards in the first quarter. Watch the cool Bill Montgomery. Rolls right, fakes, directs traffic, follows his blocking for a 25-yard gain on the rollout. Stymied at the Rice 26, the Razorbacks call on placement specialist Bill McClard, and the sophomore responds with a booming 43-yard field goal, his longest of the season. Bruce James and Dick Bumpus contain, while linebacker Lynn Garner puts on a hard rush to throw Rice's Larry Caldwell for a 7-yard loss. Solid blows pay off as the ball is knocked loose, and Roger Harnish recovers for the Razorbacks Coach Charlie Coffey's defenses have recovered 42 fumbles the past 2 seasons, 20 and 69. Fullback Bruce Maxwell bursts into the open to pick up 13 yards and launch another Razorback drive. On 3rd down, a short yardage play is called, but Razorback lineman and Maxwell wipe out the left side of the Rice defense, and Burnett barges 19 yards on a very determined run. Montgomery finds the Rice defense set up for a pass over the middle to the sure-handed Maxwell for a 6-yard gain and a first down at the Rice 24-yard line. A big 2nd down play sets up the Porkers' tie-breaking touchdown as Montgomery drills Dicus on the run to the Rice 1. The call goes to Burnett, the Southwest Conference leading scorer the past 2 seasons, and he dives over for a 10-3 Arkansas lead. The Razorbacks went to the air for their 2nd touchdown as Montgomery looks downfield and hits Chuck Dicus over the middle. On a picture play, Montgomery rolls left and sees John Reese, who has beaten his defender in the end zone as Reese scores. The Porkers roar back on their next possession with sophomore fullback Russ Garber bolting 18 yards on a trap play before being hauled down by 4 Owl defenders. And Bill Burnett brought oohs and ahs from the crowd with this smashing, slashing 23-yard touchdown run into the teeth of the Rice defense. The Razorbacks pulled away to a 30-6 victory. A Sugar Bowl bid was the prize, and tailback Bill Burnett got the Razorbacks rolling with this 9-yard blast through the SMU defense at Dallas. Bursting over the right side behind blocks by Ronnie Hammers and Bob Stankovich, fullback Bruce Maxwell rambles for 15 yards. Finding his long receivers covered, quarterback Bill Montgomery hits Pat Morrison across the middle, and the big tight end churns for good yardage and a first down at the SMU 13. Fleet John Reese eludes his defender, and Montgomery fires into the end zone for a 7-3 Razorback lead. Behind 9-7, the Razorbacks surge back as Maxwell launches a scoring drive with a 14-yard pickup. Maxwell finds a gaping hole opened by center Rodney Brand, guard Jerry Dossey, and tackle Mike Kelson, and romps for 12 more. Finding his receivers covered, Montgomery will take another route. Swings outside and picks his way 19 yards to the Mustang 33. Going to the air once again, Bill Burnett releases out of the backfield. Montgomery arches a sideline pass. Burnett runs under it at the goal line for the touchdown. Senior tailback Russell Cody follows effective blocking to pick up a first down at the SMU 39 as the Razorbacks again head goalward. Montgomery hits Reese on a curl pattern, and the long-striding junior flanker whirls to the Mustang 4. A spin here and there, and Bill Burnett covers the final 4 yards for a 21-12 Razorback advantage. The Mustangs' backs were pinned to the wall on this 46-yard punt by Kerry Stockdale, which took a weird bounce to the left and out of bounds at the SMU 1-yard line. Trying desperately to get breathing room, SMU quarterback Chuck Hickson has his quick pass deflected by Porker linebacker Mike Buschetti, and Bobby Field intercepts at the Mustang 9. And not to be denied, Bill Burnett drags the defender the final 6 yards, much to the Mustangs' disgust, as you will see, for the final Razorback touchdown and a 28-15 victory. The Porker defense nailed down the decision with determined rushes of Hickson. Linebacker Lynn Garner gets there first. The Razorback defense came of age against Texas Tech at Little Rock. Bobby Field picked off a Red Raider pass in the first quarter as the Porkers refused to allow a first down on the visitors' first 7 possessions. In trouble briefly, quarterback Bill Montgomery finds tight end Pat Morrison roaming free and connects on a 13-yard pickup. And Montgomery hits Chuck Dicus. After juggling the ball, And adjusting his helmet, Chuck gets 17 yards to the Tech 29. Montgomery dropping back. This time, 22 yards to Pat Morrison. Again, the drop back. Reese comes back from Montgomery's strike and is downed at the Raider 1. And the Razorbacks break the ice in the nationally televised game as Burnett leaps into the end zone. Junior fullback Russ Garber snares Montgomery's pass despite a brief collision and rambles for 28 yards. The Porkers make it 10-0 on Bill McLeod's 29-yard field goal. Grinding it out, tailback Burnett charges around left end. Montgomery lofts to Garber on a well-executed screen pass, and the light-footed fullback hooks it 43 yards all the way to the Red Raider 5-yard line. Burnett hikes the Razorback lead to 17-0 as he dives into the end zone. Throughout the afternoon, the Raiders were harassed by a swarming Porker defense. Here, a blitzing Cliff Powell and Rick Kersey wrap up the quarterback. And junior defensive end Bruce James pressures the Raider quarterback into unloading the ball and intentionally grounding the football. Bobby Field comes up with his second interception of the game and follows his blocking beautifully for a 49-yard return. Montgomery checks the Red Raider defense, fakes to the tailback, looks and hits Morrison again, and the powerful tight end lumbers for 21 yards. This time, Montgomery to Dykes over the middle for 12 to the Raider 8 as Chuck is hit hard. And Burnett cuts behind the blocking of Dossie, Brand, and Hammers to romp the final 8 yards for the touchdown. The Texas Tech receiver is given a rude reception by Terry Stewart and coughs up a pass to end a Raider threat. The blitz pays off again as Cliff Powell ties up the Raider quarterback, and Bruce James applies the clincher in the 33-0 Razorback victory. Billed as the game of the decade, Arkansas against Texas. It's doubtful any previous football game attracted so much undivided attention since it was the only game played December 6, 1969. The site, Razorback Stadium in Fayetteville. On the line was the national championship, the Southwest Conference championship, and the host spot against Notre Dame in the Cotton Bowl. Arkansas fans were beside themselves. Thousands turned out to call the Hogs the night prior to the big game at a huge pep rally and bonfire on the University of Arkansas campus. As if there wasn't already enough significance, President Nixon selected the big shootout as the only college football game he had attended since taking office. The chief executive visited the Razorback Stadium press box at halftime and both dressing rooms following the game. No doubt about it, there was unmistakable electricity in the air as the fans cheered their team when it took the field. An aroused Razorback defense made the first break of the game on Texas' second play when a bad handoff led to a fumble recovery at the Longhorn 22 by Bobby Field of the Razorbacks. On third down, quarterback Bill Montgomery barely got off a pass, which flanker John Reese clutched while falling out of bounds at the Texas 2-yard line. Tailback Bill Burnett climbed over the line for a 7-0 Porker lead after only a minute and 27 seconds of action. Texas was stymied for 3 quarters by plays such as this, a leaping interception by Terry Stewart of Arkansas. Shredding the potent Longhorn defense, Montgomery weaves his way for 14. Watch the protection by the Arkansas offensive line as Montgomery fires over the middle to Dicus for a 16-yard pickup. And here Montgomery is forced to scramble. Finally moves to his left. Chuck Dicus has worked himself free, and he hits the split end for a 16-yard gain. Perfect execution springs Dicus loose for a scintillating catch of Montgomery's pass, but this touchdown was nullified by a penalty. Trailing 7-0 after halftime, Texas battles back with this completion. But the Razorback defense forces a fumble recovered by the Porkers' Terry Stewart. Montgomery on the option play, pitch back to Bill Burnett. He angles 7 yards behind fullback Bruce Maxwell's blocking. And here, unable to find an open receiver, Montgomery breaks out of the passing pocket, picks up a timely block by Bruce Maxwell, and sweeps 18 yards to the Texas 30. A perfect peg by Montgomery to the speeding Dicus, and a clearing block by tight end Pat Morrison catapults the Razorbacks into a 14-0 lead. The embattled Longhorns climb back into the game when quarterback James Street, back to pass, slips through onrushing Razorback defenders, breaks into the open, and dashes 42 yards for a touchdown. The feisty Street cuts the Porker lead to 14-8 by slanting over for a 2-point conversion. The Razorbacks launch a promising drive with this 20-yard pass, Montgomery to Dicus. And again, Montgomery. Downfield to Chuck Dicus, this time for 21 yards. But with a clinching touchdown within their grasp, the Porkers are denied when Montgomery's pass intended for Dicus is intercepted in the end zone and returned upfield to the 20-yard line. The Razorbacks battle to preserve their lead as Dick Bumpus breaks through to trip up the Texas quarterback, causing a high pitch out, and Gordon McNulty comes up with a fumble recovery. Texas, though, gets one last chance, and quarterback Street combines with tight end Randy Peschel for a spectacular play which carries to the Arkansas 13-yard line. Big Ted Coy blasts for 11 yards to the Porker 2-yard line. Jim Bertelson cracks over for the tying touchdown, and the extra point provides the Longhorns with their first lead of the game, 15-14. The Razorbacks surge down the field on Montgomery's passing, with Bill Burnett catching this one for 9 yards. With Dicus and Reese covered downfield, Montgomery hits Burnett again for 10 yards as Arkansas reaches Texas territory. The Porkers' last gasp drive is brought to a stop with less than a minute left in the game when Montgomery's pass intended for Reese is intercepted. Final score, Texas 15, Arkansas 14. The Razorbacks made their second consecutive trip to the Sugar Bowl, losing to Ole Miss 27-22. Most of the 1969 Razorback cast returns in 1970 with hopes for another banner year in 1970. Coach Frank Brawl's 13th season as head coach.